Hello, and welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network. Tonight, the gang is going to discuss listeners' questions.
Good evening, everyone.
Howdy, howdy. Howdy, howdy from Broadway.
So, anyhow, what's everybody been up to? Ray?
I just traveled in the Midwest for work last week and stopped in Nick's over the weekend, helped him get going on his one of his projects. We got quite a bit done. Still not done yet, but started looking for houses over that area.
Oh, the big move is coming up, huh?
Yeah, well, it's in the planning stage, so it's haven't
Oh,
pulled the trigger yet on any particular house, but we're looking. We're looking.
acreage?
We're looking at both. It seems like if we find the land we like, the house isn't up to snuff, or and vice versa. So
Okay,
you got to keep looking. You don't buy the first one, and
that's true. That's true.
we're looking. So it's in the works.
Nick, I hear you've had your construction helmet on, huh?
I did. I had my construction helmet on the weekend. Dad was saying, he was over. We got the vault door installed finally on the vault room. So that part of the project's done. Next one's really framing out the vault room. That's a big one. We're kind of still deciding how we frame it out. We're debating: do we do Tapcons, being its concrete wall, or a couple of that or the hammer nail system. There's a couple ideas we're still floating around. But when we were doing the door, we know neither of us like Tapcons, and we figured we'd try them. Didn't work again, so we kind of scrapped that idea. So that process is still being planned out. But other than that, spent some money on another rifle. Here is actually, I have one of the rounds already for it. This is an original round for the rifle.
And what caliber is that?
This is known as it's 11.15 by 60 millimeter rimmed.
Okay.
Also known as 43 Mauser. It is for the Mauser 7184, which was one of the Germans' main infantry rifles. So it's an interesting case. It's going to be a very interesting one to load for, because it has, I don't know how it's going to come up. It has a ballooned case base, so that's going to be an interesting loading process. I've seen ideas. For instance, a lot of people are using like 4570, filing down the rim diameter a little bit, and then using an O-ring system. But this original round is paper patch, as you can see, but I'm just going to use a little bit oversized grease groove bullet. But other than that, originally black powder. I'll probably load a black powder to start. But no, it's been one I've wanted to add to the collection for a while, and found a pretty good price on it. So,
okay, so you're not paper patching, huh?
I'm not going to paper. I really don't like paper patching. It's too long of a tedious process, I think. Unless there's no other option, then I have to paper patch. But being that I can get slightly oversized grease groove bullets for this, I'll do that, no problem. But
we could always play with it and try it.
And it's one of those things. The price of the bullets I'm going to be getting aren't bad. It's like 250 of them for like $65 before shipping, which ain't bad. That's pretty affordable for the bullets themselves. So I'll try and just shoot some of those. It all depends on the bore. I'm going to, of course, slug the bore. It says it has a good bore, so we'll see whenever we actually get in hand.
Oh, you don't have it yet?
Nope, it was on auction. So
okay. So you haven't been able to put a bore scope down it?
Not yet. They say good bore, and we've trusted this auction before. We've had one situation, one of my rifles I purchased. They said good bore, but the bore was pretty crappy. But other than that, we usually take their word for it. They're usually pretty conservative and pretty honest on it. So, but I think Dad picked one up from that same auction as well.
Okay, nice. So your dad didn't drop anything on your head while you were working there?
No, we're good. We're good.
We didn't even argue too much.
No, we actually didn't.
Otherwise,
The only arguing was us really yelling that we knew Tapcons didn't work. I think that was the only arguing. Neither of us like Tapcons. Oh.
So you hammer drill and lead mollies, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. But well, what we did for the base was, being that we wanted to get the door up a little bit, we just took a treated 1x6 board and just took liquid nailed it to the ground, because the heavy door was going to sit on top of that 1x. So it's really just something to get that up off the ground a little bit, to get that clearance for the in swing. That was no issue. Yeah, but we had to get concrete. We had to do a hammer drill and drive them 6 anchors into the concrete walls. And so no, she's pretty sturdy, and we got her pretty dang level, and door shuts smooth as can be. And
yeah, the only reason we had to put that board underneath it is because the floor in that room, they didn't pour it level. And when you swing the door open, the back corner was going to hit.
Okay. So have you ever used the epoxy capsules?
I have.
Okay.
The Hilti and the Redhead and all that.
Yeah. That's normally what I would use, but lead mollies, they work.
Actually, we use lead mollies. We use the bolt that's got the wedge on it. You drive it in, then when you tighten it up, it pulls it.
I think it's anchor bolt. I think that's what they call them.
Yep, anchor bolts. Yeah.
And they were holding sturdy, and they tightened up and didn't move or anything, so they did their job.
As long as it's in good, clean concrete, you got no problem with those.
Yeah.
So, the other thing to do is 3M makes a 2-part epoxy with a nose that mixes the epoxy, where you can blow it out, put the epoxy in, and then just stick the bolt in. So, which is nice. All right, Jim.
Sir.
What you been up to this weekend?
Looking for alternative powders for my 280i.
Okay, and
I found a couple. I was looking at powder burn charts. It looks like you can use Reloader 23 and Reloader 26 both.
Okay, able to get those?
I haven't tried. I'm scared to. Last time I priced anything like that, it was $600 for a 5-pound bottle. That's over $100 a pound, Paul.
I know. I saw Powder Valley had what was it? RL16 for $450 for 8 pounds. So,
what powder are you looking for, Jim?
Preferably Reloader 22. But I've also seen literature that tells me I can use Reloader 23 and Reloader 26.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out. There's a shop that I go to. I get all my powder out, and if I can find it for a really good price, it might even be worth shipping it almost.
Yeah.
Well,
good. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out though.
I spent the weekend putting up loads for 6GT here. And
hold on, Paul. Let me blow you up here.
Nah, that's okay. This is just different hand scratching that I've done. I'm between calling Sierra, Hornady, Spear, and that, and not having a lot of luck with actually tested loads. For the bullet weights I'm looking at, I am left to interpolate loads from a 6x47 and work with that. So that's what I've been up to. And so getting that all ready to go. So, and then of course, we have our our fearless leader is missing tonight, taking his wife to a concert. So
the guy almost never misses a show, so he's kind of entitled, but he's still running slack. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. So
I learned early on: a happy wife, happy life.
yeah. How many years is that for you, Ray?
Almost 30.
Okay. Well, I'm 14 ahead of you, so I'm working there. Yeah. So it is listener questions today, and we already have one that's asking a question here from Wayne. Do any of you gentlemen reload for a 6mm Remington?
I do not.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I have.
I do. That's
Good. You could.
one of my sixes that I have out there. What does he want to know? What bullets or anything else? So Wayne, come back to us and ask us what you're looking for. And next, we have a question from Alaska Russ. He tumbled his lead bullets in HBN2, and the tumbling media and lead are beginning to stick to his impact media, and he's wondering if he should clean the media or just let it go the way it is now. Now, some of you people may remember that they used to tumble lube lead bullets in motor mica. Anybody remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So, but they didn't run it in a media. They just went ahead and did it. If it was me,
The motor media, wasn't it white?
What was that, sir?
The motor media, wasn't it white?
Yes, it was motor mica. Mica.
Motor mica, thank you.
Yes.
I actually used that stuff years ago when I was buying bullets.
Okay.
I didn't care for it. It didn't seem like it offered me any protection from the lead against rifling.
It made it cleaner to reload with your fingers, especially.
Yeah, that's right.
That was what its big draw plus was. It didn't mess up dyes as much, and especially seating dyes. Getting lubricant into the nose section of the dye. But Alaska Russ, I would definitely clean the media or just go out and buy new media. I don't know how easy it is to get by you. And if they're regular BBs, Amazon sells them for next to nothing. So
I got BBs right here.
Yep.
They're cheap. If you want impact media, Russ, just buy some BBs.
Yes, sir. Okay, Wayne, 70 grain Nosler ballistic tip. You'd be surprised, but WW760 has been my go-to powder for lightweight bullets and 6mm Remington. Prairie dog towns and that kind of stuff. It's a good powder, even though it's double based and temperature sensitive. It works. The key to it is to keep it cool before you shoot it. So if you keep it in a ice box or something and keep it in the low or mid 60s, it's not temperature sensitive at that time, and it works really good on prairie dogs and other varmints in that size.
On a round like that you want to keep cool, do you take a cooler out out to the range with you? And
Sure.
keep the ammo in a cooler with an ice pack or something?
Yeah, I take a cooler out, and I will store things like 22 250 because I use a lot of 760 in that. 6mm Remington go in there. A lot of stuff. If you're going to leave it out in the sunlight, especially in the west there, it it tends to draw heat, and anytime you draw heat, you're going to get velocity changes. So keep it in the cooler. Doesn't hurt any. You just keep a 100-round box of each in there in that cooler, and you know take out what you need and shoot it. That's all. Six-pack project. The mica kept the bullets from being tacky. Yes, sir, they did.
Nothing wrong with a tacky bullet. Put some A-locks on it.
Yeah, and the ALOX person is speaking over there, and
Stir in that pot.
now remember, not everybody likes the taste of ALOX, so we get there.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
I know. Running with scissors. Now this one, I don't know if anybody has run with a 22 arc. Has anybody put one together yet?
Chris? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I thought Chris has, but don't quote me on that.
Well, he's laid up right now.
I know. I thought he was talking about that project, but who knows? I knew he was working on quite a few things right now, though.
Yeah. Okay. You'd be surprised. 22 ARC has a lot of data out there, which surprises me, compared to some of the other cartridges. The 22 Creedmoor, the 22 GT, 6 GT, and so on and so forth. So I would say in an AR type rifle, I would pick the 22 ARC over the Nosler or any of the other large capacity 22s that fit an AR-15. So I think they're it has for Hornady cartridge. Oh, please stole my heart. For Hornady cartridge, it is a nice round that gets you close to 22 250 velocities and seems to be fairly accurate depending upon your build. So let's see here. We're back to Wayne again. He's been running IMR 4064, which does pretty good accuracy wise in my rifle. It's a Remington 700 ADL from 1974. Oh, he's got a young gun then. Okay. So you should get a lot of rounds through that then, Wayne.
Make sure you keep track of your round count, Wayne.
That's right. I don't know what velocity you're getting out of it, but a 70 grain Nosler, you can get 3,400 feet per second without too much of a problem. And if you push it, you can get 36.
Here's a guy who stole my heart. Six-pack project. Six-pack project. I like you, sir, already. Never met you, probably never will, but I still like you. I still use A-locks. Just too damn easy to use despite the mess. Yay, good man, good man, good man.
Look, there's a lot better bullet lubes out there if you want to use a liquid lube like that. Look at Rooster Red lubricant. Comes in gallon sizes, and it hardens up a whole lot more than Alox does, and doesn't get soft in the heat.
Powder coat.
There you go.
Yep, powder coat all the way.
Yep.
Well, I'm so cheap that I'd have to. I just realized I have access to literally tons of powder coat, so better keep my mouth shut.
Where's Travis when we need him? Right?
Exactly.
I talk to guys in the paint shop. They get different color shoes every day.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Okay.
Royal blue, bullet gray, cobalt black. Icy black.
Okay.
And British white.
Now then, I got a question that was emailed to us that wanted to know the best way, and this is to the audience out there. I want to hear what they have to say to remove lead from a 22 rimfire rifle. We want to hear how and what you use to get rid of it. So while they're all contemplating all that, a deep subject there, another question we've had is the pros and cons of trimming and pointing copper and lead bullets for target shooting. Now then, I'm probably one of the few here that does that. I look at it as looking at the nose of the bullet when I unbox them and see how badly they are deformed, if they're deformed, and what they look like. And a lot of bullets come out of the factory box that are not very uniform on the tip. So that involves now trimming back so you get a clean tip, and then reforming that tip in a die. And I measure first. That way you're doing all the bullets the same length. You can't just grab a bullet and say, okay, I'm going to cut this much or that much. You have to know how much you're going to cut off. And so you measure the bullet, you segregate the bullets, and then you go through and start to trim them. All right. We're going to stop there real quick and go to Corwin Boss. Brass brush and lead remover. Thorough clean if it's a really bad for the
if it's really bad.
If it's really bad in question.
Above that bench, I had one there, sharp shooting it makes a good lead remover.
Yep.
And then somebody corroborates him when he said, running with scissors, love that handle. I used no lead, a sharpshooter, in a Winchester Model 67.
Yeah. Okay. So, there are a couple out there. The Lewis lead removing cloth is one. You can cut that up into patches. The old Kroll and JB Bore compound will also work in that situation. Thorough clean, the paste part of it, or semi-paste, I would call it, is a light abrasive. It will also work in that. Just a good. I'm not a fan of bronze brushes in precision 22 barrels, but if it's just a planker, yeah, a bronze brush doesn't hurt as long as it's properly sized. And don't go putting a 224 bush bronze bush brush down a 22 caliber bore, 22 rimfire. You need to get one that is set up for .222. Okay. We got a question here. Stephen H. Excuse me. I'm sorry, sir. Has anyone ever made 8x58 Danish brass? Our Milsurp duos out there?
I never have. I don't think we've got that one, do we, Nick?
No, I'm looking up research on it though right now. Steven, check out or Stefan, check out Raycom Projects. He actually did a video on forming 8x58 Danish Krag brass. It looks like basically just 4570, just turning the rim in a lathe. But if you don't have a lathe, you could find a way to, if you have a drill press, that's what we're going to be doing for this cartridge here, is making a jig to hold my brass so I can come and just file on that rim. And that's really what it looks like. And then it's just forming it down. Yeah, you just want to make sure you anneal and then slowly form it down. So from what I'm doing a quick draw through the video real quick. And that's all, yeah, just use imperial sizing wax and anneal. And so
remember, when you're using imperial sizing wax, lightly.
Yes, and I can attest to that. That's for sure.
Lightly. You just want your fingers just to be barely coated with it and go through it. Going heavily with it in those thin wall cases will cause problems. So, 6-pack project. Now, I have never used periatic acid. Has anybody else here?
I haven't.
Jim? No? I wouldn't recommend it.
Mm-mm.
An acid in a gun barrel is no. Heck, even using Sweet 762, to me, is a no in a rifle barrel. There are other products out there that will do a safer job of removing copper, and same with lead.
Jumping back to Stefan's question, I'm kind of looking. He made a Raycom in his video made a chart. When he took measurements using calipers, he measured the original round. He took, a lot of people are making these old school rimmed cartridges off of belted Magnum rounds, but that's an option. And he compared that, and then he also took 4570 brass. And really, your rim thickness on 4570 is exactly the same. The only difference is your diameter. And the original round is 0.580, 4570 is 0.603. So you're not going to be taking off a lot of material. So that should be
a little higher, Nick.
So this is my round, but yeah, all you'll have to do is you'll have to take off basically that there, you have to file that down to meet closer to that 0.583. And the best way to do that is take your bolt out of your gun, and then when you file it down, make sure it's, of course, you don't have any burrs, and then try to fit it into that bolt face. That's the best way you're going to figure out correctly if it's going to be, to your point.
You're using what, a mini lathe, or chucking it up in a?
Raycom's using he has a full size lathe, actually, is what I know Raycom has, but I know I'll be using a drill press when I do this project, and you can even use a handheld drill and mount that in a vise or something. There's all sorts of different ways to do it. Most people say, "Oh, you got to have a true lathe," but not everybody can afford a true lathe. So, or a mini lathe.
You're only talking
40. What are you talking here? Let's do the math real quick.
You could file 20 thousandths off the side with the part rotating in no time, especially brass.
3 minus 0.580. You're taking 23 thousandths off, which is nothing. Yeah, you're not taking much down. So that's an easy chuck up in a drill press and hand file, or turn it on and put a file on that. You'll be done in no time.
And a piece of emery cloth to clean it up.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, that'll be that's an easy project, which now that I know that, I'll be keeping it out for a Danish Craig.
And just so everybody understands, please use modern solid head cartridges for that.
Yes.
Not old balloon head, because
I tell everybody, buy PPU brass, buy Starline brass, especially for like 4570. It's about $1 a case right now. $1 to $1.50 roughly. That brass will last you a lifetime, especially if you anneal.
Right.
So
but stay away from older balloon head cases, because you'll have a case separation at the rim.
Yep.
Which is bad news.
Yeah, no, you don't want that down there. That's why I have probably 50 of these original 11mm Mauser rounds. I'll never shoot them, because first of all, it's black powder. That's 140 years old. I'm not going to shoot that.
So,
you sure? That ought to be good.
I'll pass.
That ought to be good.
I don't want to blow a gun up.
Let Ray shoot him.
Yeah, I'll put Dad on the gun. Yeah.
See there, I'm a switch hitter, Ray. I don't care who. I'm fickle. I'll pick on either one of you, or both. Anyway, our friend from Australia, Ed Bim, he wants to know if we could possibly use felt pellets for 22 long rifle. I like that idea.
Sure can. In fact, you go to Brownells and get their 22 caliber cleaning kit, which comes with Kroll felt pellets and JB bore paste. And guess what? You got it all set up to go and clean that bore perfectly shiny without harming it. So good way to do it. Probably one of the best commercial ways of cleaning it, other than if it's not real heavy, then you can get away with Birchwood Casey's lead removing cloth and those kind of things. Please stay away from the Lewis lead remover with the rubber expanding patch and the copper grid. That I'm not going to recommend.
Good one from Australia. Thank you, Ed. You've already covered this one, Paul, from Jeff Daniels. Synthetic brush with a patch.
Synthetic brush and a patch. If it's lightweight, hey, go for it. I just am not sure that synthetic brushes will do well on embedded lead in a bore. So the other thing about using a bore in there is there are very few bore guides for a 22 that will keep you from wearing out the end of the bore. So something that you can go a little faster at, JB bore paste and Kroll. Some of the lead wipes that are out there and lead removers that are advertised, Birchwood Casey and others, have a little advantage because you're not putting the effort through the cleaning rod, and a 22 caliber cleaning rod just been so easy getting into the bore without a bore guide. So, a little thunder and lightning out there, guys, today. So, yeah, that would be my thoughts on that. Thorough clean, go for it. Let out from some of the from one of the other manufacturers that makes patch out. Go ahead. But if it was me, I'm going to stick with Brownell's system with the felt pellets, the JV bore paste, and a Kroll. What do we have here? Clifford Zach, is it true that black powder gets stronger as it gets older?
That is what you hear. I've never tested it. I've seen videos of it. It does get older, but I've also seen videos where it gets weaker. So it almost really depends on storage conditions, really. I think that's a big answer to that question is storage. I try not to shoot black powder over 30 years old because, especially if I buy it secondhand, I try to avoid buying black powder secondhand is the main thing. And then that's another going down a different hole. There's actually technically different storage procedures for black powder. You're supposed to leave that in a true metal cabinet in a different place than your regular smokeless powder.
The metal cabinet is supposed to be vented, though, right?
Yes. Yeah, vented metal cabinet. It's like the place we used to buy the black powder when I lived back home. The gentleman he had a. I'm trying to think the best way to describe it. If you want to jump in, Dad. What was that? He had like a little metal box with a vented lid on the top.
Yeah.
It was an interesting how he had his stored. And when the ATF really, because there was a special license he had to have to sell the black powder, they kind of talked him through, here's how you need to truly store it when you sell it. And it's very interesting.
I've seen people use just metal storage lockers.
Yeah.
That are vented.
Yeah.
A gym locker would work if you.
Yeah.
I had a friend that was big into black powder, and he had a 2 foot by 2 foot 1/4-inch metal casters on it that he could roll around, and it was about 18 inches tall, and he had slots cut in the lid, so when you tighten the lock on it, it would rise up about a 1/2 inch, and it gave you a 1/2 inch all the way around. The lid gave a 1/2 inch all the way around the black powder storage can. So, yes, black powder needs to be stored, and I agree with you that I've seen it go all different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Question though, what about the commercial powders that are black powder substitutes?
I have not run into an issue with those. That's another one I avoid buying secondhands of those because first of all, you don't know I always go back anything powder. I go storage condition. I usually try to see is it sticking together. That's where I try to when I'm buying secondhand powder. If I'm buying secondhand powder, that's usually where I look at. If I'm using the substitutes, I'm buying brand new.
Okay.
I avoid secondhand. It's usually one of those things. It's hard to answer that question thoroughly. I've never had issues with it, and I've never really done the research into the issues that might arise with it. But
That's interesting because I mean there are so many new substitute powders out there that we don't have I've never been a black powder user, so I'm not sure. But people
biggest
that
thing
are
is stick to published loads for those. That's the best thing to do on the black powder, especially the substitutes like the Pyrodex, stuff like that. Stick to what they recommend because you can run into major issues with those.
Well, it's like
I know. I'm sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir.
Well, I was just going to say I'm no smoke puller. I've only fired a smoke pull twice. But as my understanding, I thought I read somewhere that you treat the black powder substitutes, treat them almost exactly the same as you treat black powder.
Yeah, and I've always had done
that. Dry place, ventilated storage.
Yep. That's what I've always done when I'm using like the Pyrodex substitute. I've not run the what's the stuff Accurate made? Was it Blackhorn? Right. I think is what they call it. I've never ran that. And I've always, when I got into a lot of the substitute stuff, that stuff was skyrocketed through the roof in price. So I just have never messed with that one. But like, for instance, like these cartridges here, this is originally was a black powder cartridge. I'm going to start probably with black powder, but then I'm going to go try a smokeless substitute. And there's quite a few powders out there that you can go down that rabbit hole with in the smokeless realm. Like Accurate 5744 is one of the powders. IMR, what is it? 4227. That's one. 3031 you can kind of play with maybe. That's one I would.
4198.
Yep, 4198. There's about 4 or 5 powders in the smokeless realm that you can start to play with the old school black powder cartridges. But I've stuck to 5744 and then IMR 20 or 4227 are the 2 powders I'm running a lot of right now. I've been picking up 4227 all day long here recently for under $45 a pound. So I've been kind of stocking up on that. Especially when it's only 16, roughly 16 to 18 grains, not exactly, depending on the case. It's one of those things, hey, it's that cheap. Use that little bit of powder. It's kind of a no-brainer. Jeez.
Yeah. Here's a test for you. You think you could put that round in a tumbler and see what would happen locked in your storage room?
Jeez. Oh man, I don't know.
Okay.
I think this round alone is worth like $10 to $15 because the original box of 20 of these goes for almost $200. And I have 2 full boxes of it, so I might have to sell one of the boxes. We'll see.
Okay, Vanessa Kitty is sitting there saying black powder can get more unstable as it ages. Well, we have that problem with all powders, though, don't we? At some point, we have improperly stored powders are going to age and corrode and have problems, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, any powder can go bad if not stored right and start to smell a little chemically acidic, which new powder smells that way to me. So it's.
I've noticed I have quite a few. I have 4 or 5 of the old metal cans of the IMR 3031, and I think I have one that's starting to go bad, or you can smell it. It's kind of off.
Have you noticed any change in the color in it?
I haven't paid attention. I think I made a note on it, and I'll do that. That's one thing I'll do for next week.
Okay.
I'll put two of it with some brand new 3031 I have, and see if there's a difference. And
because I've seen powders corrode and give up, and they have a pinkish to reddish hue in them, kind of a rust color. So, and I'm kind of finicky on how I store my powder, and it goes against all things that everybody tells us to do. And I use 30 millimeter ammo cans that they use for A10 Warthogs, and I put mine in there. They have a good rubber seal. They last forever, and my powder goes into those. I have not found, as long as it's not subject to extreme heat up and down, I find very little problem with it. But any powder that is exposed to high heat and then cooling down is going to have issues in the long run. Okay, here's a good one for you guys. Why is Accurate 2520 called a Camp Perry powder? What's it for? Anybody know?
I've never used that powder. Don't know much about it.
Jim? No? Okay.
Nope, never used it, but I'm going to guess this is a wild guess. Probably for service rifle ammunition on the order of 30-06, 3308, and 223, or 5556.
223 and 308. Yep, 7.62. Definitely. It was once a big time powder for those. Accurate Arms sold a heck of a lot of it, and then it started having problems. And the problems was the burn rate varied between a lot, not just a little, but a lot. So, but Accurate Arms was very good at marketing it when they had large quantities of it and were selling it by the 32-pound jug when Accurate Arms first came out with it.
32-pound jug?
32-pound jug.
Wow.
Accurate Arms 2520 is a demilled powder from the military, and
pull down powder.
Yeah, pull down powder. And when they ran out of that, they went to somebody to make it, and was never the same.
Yep.
Never the same.
Lake City's not going to give up their secrets.
Well, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. But yeah, a friend of mine was involved with Accurate Arms at that time when they were by themselves and located in Wisconsin. So that's how I came across my IMR 4831 in a 100-pound jug. So Is it like 48.95, except it's a ball powder? So it goes through military loading equipment very accurately. And Bench Attic. Just imagine what a 32-pound container of powder would cost at today's prices. Oh. Well, let's see.
You could buy a vehicle cheaper than that.
Yeah.
At $100 a pound, 3,200. Oh my God! You can buy a vehicle for less than 3,200. It is much a vehicle, granted, but the point is, you still can.
Yeah, you can buy an awful lot of gun for $3,200 too. Or a scope. Think of the scope you could buy for $3,200.
Yeah, Schmidt and Bender, $2,000.
Oh yeah. Schmidt and Bender. Yeah. So Jeff Daniels says back in the day it was $32. Well, it was a little more than that. I think it was like about $5 a pound is what they were selling a 32-pound jug of it. So, yeah, you were looking at, $160.
Of course, too, back then, $160 was a lot of money.
Well, yes, the $160 was a lot of money. That was in the 80s, and that was a lot of money. But I remember seeing the ads in Hodgdon for $48.95 for what was it, $2 or $3 a pound back in the 60s.
Back in the old days of the Shotgun News, when they were still using newsprint.
Yes, Shotgun News and the back of American Rifleman. You could you get the ads back there, and they would be selling things there. And a little bit before that, you could buy a Carcano for $70 or $80. Some of them were in the low teens. Prior to 1968. They never worried if you got a gun through the mail or not. And we have 6-pack is sitting there. I kind of miss the drums of WC 820. What did you use it for? 6-pack. Wayne. All right, 22 Swift or the 22 250. Which I hunt with both, but love the Swift more. I don't know. I have a hard time with a rim cartridge, a semi-rim cartridge.
Well, depending upon the projectile in the game you're hunting, you want to shoot predator or something like that, put a lightweight thin jacket bullet in there. It's like putting a buzzsaw through them.
Oh yeah, either one of them will. You put a 35 or 40 grain bullet in either one of those, and you're talking for 4,200 feet per second in a 26, right? In a 26-inch barrel. Yeah. Take your time shooting it, and it'll last a long time. Go to a prairie dog town, and you'll get about an hour and a half out of it. Either one. But that's why they make gunsmiths and barrel makers. All right, truth. What AR manufacturers make accurate rifles at a reasonable price, less than $1,500?
Ooh.
Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
A low receiver's a low receiver for the most part.
Just a good trigger,
Yep.
okay?
That's
Yeah.
really it needs to change that.
Trigger, barrel, and bolt carrier and group. That's your rifle.
So, who makes good barrels for an AR? Well, you can get a Criterion, you can get a Krager, you can get a Black Hole Weaponry,
White Oak,
White Oak,
Green Mountain.
Green Mountain. Faxton makes some great
Faxon,
barrels.
Yeah, Ballistic Advantage.
Ballistic Advantage, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I kind of run out of fingers when I think of barrel makers.
Yeah.
But
It
they
all depends
all.
what you're going to do with it. Truly, that's the question. Are we shooting accuracy? Are we going 100 to 300 yards? Or are we pushing it out to that 600 yards? What do we want to do? That's the big question.
But just to build an accurate one is going to be a good upper receiver that's straight and is cut square.
Yep.
And then it comes down to the bolt and the bolt carrier of being high enough quality to take the pressure and to be square when they come in and lock in the barrel. So if your bolt face does not lock in square to the barrel, you're going to have a cartridge that's going to shoot off somewhere. And if they're nice and square and everything works out, you're going to have one hell of a shooting rifle. So, but can I pick out one manufacturer? Not for $1,500.
No.
I'd build one.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
I mean, I'd go to Aero, and that's just me. Go to Aero Precision, buy my upper and lower from them, and then decide what barrel I would want, and spend my majority of my money on that barrel and on that barrel. If if I can swing $600 or $700 on the barrel, I would definitely do that. I'd even go to Krager and buy a barrel from them, okay, for $700-800, and spend the other $700 on all the other parts, which you can do. Things that I would put in it would be JP silent capture spring, Midwest rail on it. But then again, Arrow makes some really nice handguards, Magpul, stock, and handguard and grip, and a Geisley single stage trigger. So,
aren't there manufacturers out there like Timney that make a trigger replacement for an AR style rifle?
Oh yeah, yeah. Even Geisley makes his wife makes a trigger that makes the standard AR look like it's a pile of rocks. And
and going back to what Nick originally said, what's a guy going to do the rifle? If you're shooting a CMP match,
He just said 300 yards is where he's going to be looking at.
But there again, is it a service rifle competition? Because if it is, you're limited what you can do.
Yeah, when I saw him do that, I'm like, ooh, is he getting into CMP shooting? I'm wondering.
Well, even then, I mean, Krager makes a barrel that's
Yeah.
meant for
Yeah.
it. You know.
Yeah. If
So
you're doing the CMP high power match shooting, Krager, Criterion, yep, that one.
Yeah.
There's like 3 or 4 I would go with at most.
Right.
For the barrel. Those what I would do for coyote hunting. Yeah, you go with heaviest barrel you can.
Yeah.
I shoot probably my most accurate AR that I have uses a black hole weaponry barrel, and that does not have traditional lands and grooves in it. It's got kind of a Lauden barrel. Looks kind of like a polygonal barrel in the old HK 93 and 91. So, but very accurate. Only 3 lands and grooves, quote lands and grooves in it, and it shoots a 77 grain bullet. With a red dot sight 1 inch. So, if you can take a 2 MOA dot and project it out at 100 yards, it will shoot a 1 inch group. So, but that's just me,
Yeah. If he's want a coyote hunt, I can't think of off the top of my head, a company that makes a factory built rifle dedicated to coyote hunting off the top of my head. No. I think most people that strictly coyote hunt build out the gun themselves.
Yes.
And with building an AR, I think we all agree it's not rocket science.
You're not building, you're assembling.
You're assembling, yeah. That's the biggest thing. Unless you're turning the barrel down, cutting your chamber, all that, that's different. But yeah, no,
I disagree somewhat.
Well,
I think fitment of the bolt to the barrel.
Yeah.
You got
squaring the barrel and all that. That's I mean,
but as a coyote gun, what I would want, oh Jesus, yes, I'd be sitting there looking at a mall laser to put on it. Spend a good $2,800 on that. Get me a thermal sight and a set of clip-on night vision for it. Then you got a good coyote gun. Then if you need it, I got an old custom Fox Pro call that works great. So so you got that, triggers and all that kind of stuff help. Then again, 6-pack is right. The night vision or thermal was the real investment. And he's right. Good night vision or thermals is really expensive. A mall laser will send you back $2,500 to $2,800. A good clip-on M21 scope, night vision scope will add $3,000 to $4,000. So when you get there, you're starting to really spend some quality money.
Well, if you're going to pellet hunt, you could probably make that in a few seasons.
Yeah, depending upon where you are in hunting.
True.
The
condition of the animal.
The condition of the animal. I know that out west there's been a real problem with mange, and places like Nevada and southern Colorado, and that they have not been quality fur. But then again, you get into the upper Midwest, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, uh, you're going to run into some really prime pelts there that you can sell for some pretty good money. It used to be when I was younger and hunting fox and coyotes, take $5, $10 bills, lay it out, and that's about what a coyote or a fox would be worth. Nowadays, you probably could take $5, $20 bills, and that's what a good coyote or fox would be. Truth, thermal is coming. All right. Six pack. If you're going to be $1,000 for a cheap thermal, let alone a nice one, rifle can shoot 12 inches, groups at 300 yards, and you still end the dog. Well, I don't know about that, but okay. I'll take your word for that one. Anybody object?
I have to laugh. Wayne Mills says that Ohio Coyotes went for $12 last year.
There you go.
That's nothing.
Yeah, ain't even worth tubing them.
Nope.
Jeff Daniels, 12-inch group. Okay. Okay. Gene Cox, getting here late. Anyone load 41 Magnum? I've worked up a load for 265 gas check. It's really long projectile and seems my normal seating die, the plunger, is nearly all the way out. Then he wants to know if anybody makes a longer die for it. That's a heavy bullet in 41 Magnum.
Yeah, you're right about that.
265, where normally 41 mag is what,
200 maybe?
200, 210. That's usually about it. We're talking, 50 to 60 grains more weight than what is normal out there. You would almost have to turn to somebody to custom make that die for you.
I'm going to take that one too, Paul. To Gene Cox, I suggest you call our friends up in Cortland, New York, Reading Reloading Equipment. See, you talk to Robin Sharpless, and he might be able to help you out with that.
Well,
yes.
I was thinking, could he back out his seating die, the whole die body, but then that would screw things up. I'm just thinking that way.
Yeah, he's got to have enough to get a crimp on it,
Yeah.
and then still, but that's why we go with the crimps somewhere else in another die. So you could seat it out long and then get a crimping die that
you can get a crimp die, $30 probably.
Right. Yeah.
That might be the way to try it, and Just back your die out a couple revolutions at most and try that and then crimp it.
And we're not talking an adjustable top crimp die. We're talking one of the ones that you use the body threads to come in and out to crimp.
Yep.
You're talking like the Lee factory crimp there, Paul?
What, sir?
Are you talking about what the Lee factory crimp die, where it has an actual stab crimp?
Yeah, the Lee factory for pistol has always had a screw top down to adjust the crimp. But
it almost depends on what kind of crimp you want to do, because I'm looking on Mid-South right now. They sell a taper crimp die. They sell a profile crimp die. And then there's a roll crimp die that Lee made or makes. They just have stock of that. But there's all sorts of different options. For it all depends on what kind of crimp he wants, really.
What's the guy in Ohio? CH?
Oh, CH4D. I don't know how
CH4D?
I haven't talked to him in a while, being that the original owner just passed away a couple months ago. But a new person's taken over. I haven't talked to them in a while, so I don't know where their production's sitting.
Okay.
But that's not out of the question either.
Jeff Daniels, have you heard anything from them on your Dylan 9x25 die?
Yeah, that's another one.
But they do make a taper crimp, a roll crimp die that has the roll crimp built into the die, and you just adjust the die up and down. And they have that for 38 and 38 Super and a few others. What do we got here? JT, thoughts on the 7mm PRC? And a running store has it in a Browning X bolt.
It's an alternative to 7 mag, isn't it?
It's about equivalent to the 7 mag. Me, I'm not so interested in the X bolt. That's just me. 7 PRC is a great cartridge. It's underpowered right now because Hodgdon, and they have even admitted it, is putting out underpowered cartridges due to the fact that they cannot get the powder that was originally developed for the cartridge. So basically you're getting a 7mm Remington Magnum that is probably a little bit slower than a 7 Remington Magnum.
I think I heard that same tale, same problem on Handler TV here a while back. They couldn't get the powder for it.
Yes. Oh. Jeff Daniels, he's expecting to hear something pretty soon on his 9x25 Dylan dies. Okay.
The only thing that scares me about that CH40 is I'm trying to run through their site, and every time I click on a certain die set, it gives me an error. Throws an error code. So I don't know. That's not a good sign.
He was a good guy, I'll tell you that, the owner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I dealt with him a lot.
Yeah, I've ordered countless numbers of die sets from him.
Yeah.
And he's always been good. He was always good to work with. Hopefully the new young guy kind of keeps it going.
And his daughter was involved with it too, if I remember correctly. So, because I know her and I had to go around once or twice. They were also the owner of the CNH Auto Champ for reloading different a straight line reloading machine. So something along the lines of the RCBS, but way more efficient. Have anybody ever used 11FS powder from Accurate?
I haven't.
Nope.
No?
Never heard of it.
Okay. Jeff, the rifle can be a 4 MOA gun and still kill a coyote at 300 yards. They are big targets, and a soft paint in the abdomen will kill them quick as can be. Yeah. Sometimes they're big and sometimes they're small. It depends upon your area. And then the biggest thing is how gullible they are. So that's the other problem. All right, back to trimming bullets. Guys, if you're going to do it, you have to watch the tip of the bullet. If the tip of the bullet is uneven, has problems, you're going to have to trim the bullet. Trying to tip an untrimmed bullet that has problems is going to cause you more problems. So it's trim and then tip the bullet. I feel that manufacturers are getting better at their final look at their bullets and having them in much better shape than they used to have. There are still some bullets, though, that need to be trimmed and tipped. My beloved Sierra 1530 85 grain hollow point Game King definitely needs to be trimmed and tipped in order to get better ballistic coefficient on it. And that's what we're doing with this. We're trying to even up the tip so we can get a better ballistic coefficient, or we get a more consistent ballistic coefficient. And that's really, for target shooters, that's the biggest thing, a more consistent ballistic coefficient. So they're going to trim and tip differently than a hunter will, or a prairie dog shooter or something like that. They'll follow the basic recipe, but they may stop a little earlier or stop a little later, depending upon what they're looking for in their trimmed and tipped bullet. That it, guys. I got Nick over there falling asleep.
Nope, I'm good. I'm just reading something.
Let me know how the nap was, Nick.
No, I'm good. I'm actually awake. I was just doing some research.
Okay.
I was planning on loading some ammo tonight, but I don't have the dies. They're still at Dad's house. They never got brought over. So
Them are my dies.
You don't even have the caliber, so
I don't care. You want to pay for them? You can have them.
no. I don't know if I might even bought the.
There we go. There we go.
He paid for them.
Oh. All right, guys. Say goodbye to the same old bland camo designs. Camerado brings a fresh, cool edge to camouflage. Designed not to function, but to turn heads. With Camerado, you're not just wearing camo, you're making a statement. Unlike traditional camo, Camerado is crafted for both performance and fashion. Can you imagine that? Fashion and camo. I could get into that. You know, it's better than multicam nowadays, right? It's the perfect fusion of functionality and style, ensuring you look as good as you feel no matter the setting. Guys, think about it. You know, we got this great camouflage that company that is backing us and keeping us on the air. Think about dropping some coin, especially we have, it may only be July, but we're getting at the end of July and hunting season's coming up, and you ought to look your best out there. So think about Camerado. Oh, what else we have going on? Hey, don't forget Hunt Shoot Off Road /shop and use the code RLP10 to save 10% on your goblin gear for all you brass hoarders out there. And Jim, I'm going to let you do the patch.
Oh, okay. Patriot Patch Company. This hat's the August patch, and it says treason is the reason for the season. It has a lot to do with their independence because in the year 1776, in the month of August, there was a lot of heavy fighting going on in the British colonies, otherwise better known as the United States of America. Back when we declared our independence, we became traitors. I'm no damn traitor. I love America.
I'm a
But
traitor.
that's my problem.
I'm a traitor because I got away from the king. The king would hang me. The
King George.
King George would hang me. So, don't forget our merchandise at Southern Gals Crafts. Check out our link on the store with Reloading Podcast website, and think about guys signing up as Patreons for us, please. We need some new blood. So give till it hurts. All right then. As we go with Grandpa told me that don't listen
Hold
to my... Okay.
I was just going to bring up the phone number for Google Voice for the Reloading Podcast number. 608-467-0308. Go ahead, Paul. Sorry about interrupting you.
No, nothing to be, to be sorry about. Grandpa told me not to listen to my mama because violence does solve problems.
Jump on the mill short bus.
Teach them shoot and reload when they're young.
And since I always go last, I'll just say support the Second Amendment. It's the most important, most critical bill right we have as Americans, and it's the backbone of the Bill of Rights. Hell, it's the backbone of everything we've got. This country stands for.
Amen.
And a lot of these liberals out there want to do away with our gun rights.
Amen.
Yes, and the man that I'm going to vote for in November just got his ear taken off because he got a little bit of nickel in his ear. So I know he's not real happy about firearms in the hands of common people right now.
Well, next show we'll talk about the ballistics of a 223 versus a 300 Win Mag. That way we can make a decision on that. Guys.
Oh, you're terrible.
Well, what can I tell you?
Dude, sorry, 223 versus 300 Win Mag. Oh my God.
Well, what can I say? Guys, look at if you're down, you're having problems, reach out 988 or 800-273-8255, or if you're active military, militaryOneSource.com. We want you around, okay? We're friends here. We go through all this together, and losing one of you or one of any of us out here, reduces us. So think about, getting some help. If you need it, reach out to somebody here. Reach out to 988 on your cell phone or 800-273-8255. And with that, guys, good night.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, y'all.